Well, we're coming to your city. We're gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome to a Friday edition of Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Hope you're doing well. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Justin Kalen, high top the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Got a lot to get to today, and as always, Big Friday. We're going to preview Indiana, Arkansas with Todd Leary. Friend of the show, he'll be along. Grant Asmus, we're going to talk some NBA, catch up on the Pacers, see how Victor Oladipo and crew are doing. Lots more on top of that. Before we get to it, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this Friday, November 16th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. Seahawks defeat the Packers 27-24 on Thursday Night Football last night. After just 10 games, the Houston Rockets are parting ways with Carmelo Anthony, and Mookie Betts of the Red Sox and the AL and Christian Yelich of the Brewers and the NL are the MVPs of the baseball world. Those are your headlines for this Friday, November 16th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
And hope your day's going well. A little bit better today than it was yesterday, but it's funny. I see all the carnage from the ice storm that moved through Indiana. Cars in places that I'm thinking, all right, how the hell did you get there? I don't care what was going on. I still don't understand how you can get there. I passed a couple of those today. One particular just really on my way in. I was like, really?
Like pulled off the road?
Yeah.
Why?
They're off the road. I don't think they pulled off. They didn't. That's what I'm saying. It looks like they kind of crashed. But at this point, I'm like, I don't see how that's possible. I don't care if you're sitting on ice and somebody's pushing you. Crazy.
The roads weren't even bad.
No, that's not crazy. I got trees down everywhere. While we were on the air yesterday, my neighbor sends me a photo of a tree that's lying where I was parked.
Ooh.
I'm not having very good luck with vehicles and trees.
Yeah, I'd probably find somewhere else to park at your house.
This is a different place. Had a tree fall on my pickup truck of mine earlier this season. I come back from an Indiana game. Justin was with me pulling in the driveway, and I'm like, huh? What? Tree just laying across the truck. Got lucky there. Indiana didn't get lucky with Jerome Hunter. We've been hearing for a while, including in the post-game press conference the other night, Wednesday night, that, you know, this guy's out, these guys are out, Race Thompson's out, concussion, Jerome Hunter, Zach McRoberts, Devontae Green, and then, of course, Jerome Hunter, that it's been very hush-hush as far as what the injury actually is. It seemed like they didn't know what the injury was. But then what I found a little ironic was we get the press release yesterday that Jerome Hunter underwent surgery Wednesday evening or Wednesday afternoon, whatever. That must have been prior. It was obviously prior to the game, prior to the post-game press conference.
What, did he have surgery?
Yeah.
Why you say that?
Well, what's the press release say?
Just says he undergoes surgery, will remain out indefinitely. Doesn't really say a time frame.
Yeah, it does. You read it. If you pay attention to the details, it does.
Underwent surgery Wednesday evening. So, yeah, I guess it could have been before the game.
Well,
but why would Archie not say something? Because he knew.
Do you think he was having surgery at 10:30 that night?
Maybe not.
How many surgeries take place? Regularly scheduled surgeries take place at 10:30.
I had my appendix taken out at 11:30 at night.
Scheduled?
Well, that's when they could get me in.
Anyway, so he has surgery. Jerome Hunter has had surgery on. It's a lower leg injury, is all we know. I don't know what that means. Knee, ankle, tibia.
They've been very vague about the whole thing.
Then in the press release, it says due to HIPAA laws, we can't disclose any more details, which that's a fact. They usually, it's kind of odd because usually it's He suffered a torn ACL, blah, 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 and okay. But this one is, we don't know what it is. It's not that I guess, really care. It's odd from most circumstances.
You think he's out for the season?
I no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a toenail, a hangnail. He could have had a hangnail.
I think that's kind of the way you have to look at it at this point. Think that he's going to be out for the season, be pleasantly surprised if he comes back.
That's a good way to look at it. It's, no offense, but it's not like it's Romeo or Juwan or someone that was starting, but definitely a great player that you're going to miss. A weapon.
Yeah.
Just another weapon that you're not going to have. Thank goodness Indiana's got a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Because a team that did not have 4 of its key components Wednesday night against a top 25 Marquette team, we all know what they did in that game. And that's without those 4 guys. So we'll see how it goes. But the good thing is they're going to get the other 3 back. I mean, Race Thompson was a concussion, so I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't play Sunday,
right,
unless it was a really bad concussion. And then McRoberts, he's probably he won't play Sunday. No. Race is the only one I think that could be expected back because Archie's already said they don't plan on having him for November. There's no reason to rush them back.
Don't need him.
Don't need them. So Zach McRoberts is having a back issue. And Devontae, I forget. What was Devontae's?
His was something minor, too.
Yeah,
And I expect him and Zach McRoberts to be back on Sunday, to be honest with you.
Really?
Well, I mean, they just...
I don't
know.
I don't expect
It's hard
to see
telling,
them play
yeah.
because Race is the only one I expect back because his was a concussion, and it's usually you just go through concussion protocol, which is certain days sitting out, yada yada. He's been out for a while.
I mean, if you think about it, the Arkansas game, by the time it comes up, it'll have been 9 days since Green and McRoberts have done anything.
Right, but their injuries are different.
Right.
Don't know. Zach's is back, so there's no reason to rush him back.
Sure.
When what you need and want is to have him when you go play Duke.
Especially the way he plays, diving on the floor, and yeah, you don't want to tweak it any further.
So we'll see how. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Lots of scuttlebutt involving Jeff Brom. Our good friend Dan Dockage sent out a tweet yesterday that just the Louisville fan, you know how they love Dan Dockage.
Part of me thinks that's probably why he did it.
You know what? I don't. I guarantee you someone, he told him that information, which I find that to be very credible until he posted it. And I posted that they'll probably... What he did, Dan Dockage tweeted out that on Monday, November, whatever it is, 26th. It's the 2 days after Indiana plays Purdue.
Yep.
It's the Monday following the game. He announced that Louisville would announce Jeff Brom as head coach. And, of course, he received a firestorm of, oh, you can't say that. Oh, my God, you can't say that. What are you talking about? Well, now, I have no idea when they would do that, but it cracks me up that gets people all up in arms because I don't care. I'm still convinced until you convince me otherwise. He's gone, baby. He gone.
He said, also said, always a change of heart, but this comes from 2 different sources. But my thing with this whole thing is, why announce it on Twitter? Why not let Jeff Brom talk to his team? If in fact this is true, why not Jeff Brom talk to the team? Why not let the administration know? Why should they have to find out, and all the Purdue fans, why should they have to find out on Twitter from somebody who's not even hardly connected to the program?
How'd they find out?
Dan Dockage.
No, nope. It goes before that. But teach you a little something here. Step one is, where'd he get that information?
Well, from somebody else. Who knows? I don't know.
And I don't know either. But he is intimating that that information came from the University of Louisville, someone at the University of Louisville. Now, no one's going to admit that. But do you think he doesn't have contacts there?
Oh, I have no doubt he does. And that's why I think this is true personally. But I don't know. I'm not.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
Against him.
Louisville started this whole Louisville is responsible for this. Why didn't Louisville just wait till the end of the season to fire Petrino? Sure. What the hell? Your season sucks anyway. You're in the tank. You're done. Do you think all of a sudden, even if you win 2 games, yay, we're 4-8. Oh my gosh, woo! I mean, I get that you want to win. But now look what you've done instead. Did just the chance of winning? You're not beating Kentucky anyway.
No.
I don't care if you bring in Nick Saban.
Well, and that's what I think it was with Louisville. I don't think they thought they were going to win another game, period.
Well, why do this? Why not just wait?
Right.
This was more about, I put this one on Vince Tyra. He's awesome. I think he's done a fantastic job.
Maybe because of all the outside noise of the fan base, unhappy
Here's
with
the thing. He was getting, exactly. But at the end of the day, it tells me Louisville cared more about Louisville, which they do, what you should, than they care about Purdue. Why wouldn't they? But that's why this is happening. That is why this is happening. Had they just waited, just wrote it out, your season's shot regardless. But this is the result of that. This is not because of Dan Dockage or anybody else. Because if they hadn't done it this way, this scenario would not even be able to be played out. But it doesn't matter because who in their right mind, and I saw some dude posted, I don't even know who he was. It's nobody. But he posted, Jeff Brom, it was like the day Petrino was fired, and he reposted it yesterday, this guy. Petrino fired in Louisville. Jeff Brom of Purdue is known as top candidate. Please credit. He wants people to credit that he's telling people that Jeff Brom's the top candidate.
A week late.
No, he did his, but he retweeted. I think he retweeted it that when he originally sent it out.
Gotcha.
But I'm like, really? I'm like, he's been the top candidate since they hired Petrino the second time. Are you kidding me? Morons. They're just morons on social media. We got a lot coming up on the show today. Make sure you get your texts in. You guys killed it yesterday. 502-414-1450. Get your questions in for Todd Leary. Pacers fans, Grant Asfith will be on. We'll talk some Victor Oladipo if you got any questions there as well. Or thoughts or comments. Light us up, baby. We got a big Friday coming here on Indiana Sports Beat. Coming right back. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana. Today's guest is brought to you by Kentuckiana's Premier Truck Center, located 5 miles north of downtown Louisville, just off of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday. It's game weekend. Indiana basketball on the road Sunday. They will take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Of course, soccer. Indiana in action Sunday up at Bill Armstrong Stadium as they get their first NCAA action going.
UConn.
Is that who they play?
Yep.
All right. Ooh, one of those East Coast teams, man, always dangerous.
Yep.
I don't care. Last year there was like New Hampshire they played, and I think you were with me. We went to that game, and I was like, whew, that was one of the toughest games they played. Those New Hampshire boys, man, they were getting it. But
Yeah,
Indiana
I
took care
forgot
of
that we
business.
went to that.
But, yeah, so love to see that. So looking forward to it. Then, of course, Indiana Hoosiers taking on the Michigan Wolverines in the big house up in Ann Arbor. I think we got Sammy. Sammy, you along with us now?
Yeah, I am on with you.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for giving me a minute to get all my stuff in the car so I wasn't fumbling and bumbling out on the driveway this morning.
Man, how's the ice around you? I know you're up around Indianapolis.
It was pretty bad yesterday morning, so I got I had the day off from school. But now it looks fine.
Yeah, the roads have always been fine, but I was cracking up because I was talking to Justin on the way in today. I'm seeing cars in places, and I'm like, okay, I don't care if there was ice. I don't know how the hell you got from here to there, uphill. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, one thing I always notice is those cars don't have a lot of tire tread. That's one of the big things that got to be fixed. You got to have tread on your tire.
Yeah.
I spent 2 winters in Buffalo, so put tread on your tire, or you're going to end up, somewhere where you're not supposed to be.
Good point. Indiana taking on the big Michigan Wolverines in the big house this weekend. Man, no question, Michigan's got a top defense, one of the best in the country, no less. And, of course, Michigan themselves, one of the absolute best teams in the country right now, sitting fourth in the college football playoff scenario. And they're legit, man. They are for real.
Yeah, they fixed their issues on offense from earlier in the season. Shea Patterson has fallen in nicely into that offense. He can run the ball. He has a great arm, and that offense is clicking as well. They've got several good running backs. Karan Higdon, who tortured IU last year. Chris Evans, who's a local kid as well. They're running the ball well. Their defense speaks for themselves. I think they're the number one defense in the country. Don Brown, who's nicknamed Dr. Blitz for a reason, is probably the best defensive coordinator in the country, and he's done a fantastic job. He came over from BC a couple of years ago, and that defense is going to be ready to go.
So what you're saying is if you have a better coordinator, that side of the ball usually works better.
Well, the defensive side of the ball has always been pretty good.
Well, I was making a joke in regards to coordinators and how, whether it's offensive or defensive, if you've got a great coordinator, you're usually going to have a good, whether it's defense or offense.
Well, he still has pretty good players as well.
Yeah,
so.
And they certainly have those in abundance. Tom Allen said on his radio show last night that Indiana has to go down the field and talk more about using the pass to set up the run. And, speaking of that, where has the running game of Indiana gone? But and then how hard is it going to be to do that, what he's talking about? I guess that's a two-part question.
I don't think it's gone anywhere. I mean, they ran the ball pretty well against Maryland. Outside of the sacks they gave up, they ran the ball pretty well, and that was set up by the pass. When you're down 31-9, it's hard to run the ball, and especially in the second half when you got to throw it deep against Minnesota. And then they ran the ball well against Penn State. So I think this running game, while it has the numbers aren't as gaudy as people would like, it's gotten better over time. You just can't run the ball when you're down 31-9 and looking to come back.
And they've been fortunate as far as they've been able to stay relatively healthy in that running game, which is a good, always good. And then also we haven't seen Ronnie Walker, but is he one of those guys? How many games? I don't know how many games he has left as far as a red shirt that he can play, because I know he's played in games.
He's already passed that.
Oh, he did pass it. Okay. We haven't seen a lot of him.
No, well, Stevie Scott's been so good. I mean, he's been that workhorse guy. But I would assume over the last two games, maybe Ronnie Walker gets a little bit more run, and your running back depth probably has to do with that too. You said they stayed relatively healthy, but they lost Cole Guest.
Well, right.
25 minutes into the season, Morgan Ellison was dismissed from the team. Although that wasn't an injury issue, it was something else. But you lost your top two running backs coming into the season.
Right. I meant as once the season has started, they've been able to keep with Stevie Scott being the workhorse, as you said, he's been able to get through the season relatively unscathed, which is a good sign, hopefully for things to come. But you talked about
the depth is still not there as far as maybe they get Ronnie Walker some more carries, but the depth is not where it was at the beginning of the season.
Right. UM's offense is not the absolute best in the world, but you mentioned they've kind of fixed their issues. Michigan kind of reminds me of the Denver Broncos when Peyton Manning led them to that Super Bowl. Not his best year offensively, and that defense just really carried them to a Super Bowl win, and they just managed the offense. That's kind of how I see Michigan right now.
Yeah, I mean, they have put up 42 points the last two games. I think they've won the last two games 42-7. But, they've got both sides of the ball rocking and rolling. And early in the season, they leaned on that defense just to get their offense's feet underneath them. Having, Shea Patterson coming in as a transfer, not a grad transfer, but a transfer, learning the offense, learning the system. You had one of their better wide receivers go down with a foot injury early in the year, and it took them half the season to start hitting their stride on offense. And yeah, they leaned on their defense, and rightfully so. If your defense, I think there was a time that Michigan's defense scored almost as much many points from opposing quarterbacks as the opposing quarterbacks teams did. When you have a strength, you lean on it, and they leaned on it until their offense got the sea legs, and their offense is clicking now. So we'll see how it goes on Saturday with their formula.
What does Indiana have to do from a defensive standpoint to slow them down, to slow Michigan down offensively?
You got to contain the run game, and it's been the same formula for 100 years in the Big Ten: is run the ball and stop the run. And that's what, if you could stop the run and force Michigan to throw, become one-dimensional, makes it a little bit easier to do that. But Shea Patterson can kill you with his legs and his arms, and it's going to be a tall task. But if you take away that run game, make them throw the ball a little bit more, and go get the takeaways, the defense, IU's defense is taking a step back, probably because of youth. They lost a lot of talent from last year, but the one category where they're heads and shoulders above where they were last year has been the takeaways. They have 24 takeaways this year. They had 13, I believe, all of last year, and that's been the saving grace for this defense, where if they didn't get those takeaways, they'd probably giving up closer to 35 points a game instead of 30.
Now, IU can come out of this game with a lot of confidence without having a win, because let's be honest, I mean, that's a tall task going into Ann Arbor to face one of the best teams in the country, no less, no doubt. But I think they got to keep it respectable to do that. Is that asking too much against one of the best teams in the country from a team that is very young and doesn't have the depth that, say, a Michigan does? That's a tall order for these guys to just keep it respectable, but I think that they can do that and come out of this game with a lot of confidence heading into the bucket game for a bowl.
Yeah, but we saw that against Ohio State, and look how it turned out against Iowa the next week.
Good point.
That's the problem with the young team, is that you don't know what you're going to get week in from week out mentally. Now, I think this team learned from that Iowa game, and yeah, you'd much rather come out of Ann Arbor with a close loss or, something to feel good about, other than, you don't want to lose 70-3 or anything like that, have it backfire in your face. But if you go in there, put up a good effort, and you can hold your head high, saying, hey, we did our best, and a lot of teams have come into Ann Arbor, a lot of good teams have come into Ann Arbor and had their faces kicked in. That's what it's going to be. So, just play the best that you can as for Indiana and see what happens. If your best that day is better than Michigan that day, so be it. If it's not, you can only play up to your best potential, and that's all you could ask for from a team. Just give that effort, execute the game plan to what it was given, and if they beat you, they beat you. But at least you gave an honest fight. The worst thing that you could do is leave that game going, I wish we could have done this. I wish our guys played harder, and things like that, which I don't think is going to be the case. But it's a tricky game for Indiana in terms of what you want to do. If you're down by 3 or 4 touchdowns late in the second half, do you pull Peyton Ramsey to keep him healthy for Purdue? Do you risk him getting hurt? Because they're going to come after him and put him in the ground any chance they get. Do you risk him getting hurt? Do you take some guys who are battling injuries? Do you take them off the field? Because your season is next week against Purdue. Haven't won up at the Big House in 51 years. You're not going to get a call from the referees this week. That's for sure. Because Michigan, Ohio State next week for the division title is too good for this conference to pass up. They've been waiting years for this scenario. So for IU, it's put forth a good effort, get out of there healthy, and move on.
Absolutely, I agree. Speaking of Purdue, they have a game against Wisconsin this week as they are struggling to get bowl eligible. All the while, You've got the Jeff Brom chatter just growing louder and louder. Yesterday, Dan Dakich sends out a tweet that sends the blogosphere into eruption, saying that that Brom will be announced as Louisville's head coach the Monday after the Purdue game, which sounds about right to me. But he gets a lot of flack from it. That's got to be becoming such a distraction for them.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe that's what happened against Minnesota. That Petrino was let go. I think that either the Sunday or the Saturday of that game, and maybe they knew because they played on a Friday night and got beat down by Syracuse, I believe, and maybe those rumors started swirling then that Bobby Petrino was out and all those things, but retroactively, that kind of looks like maybe that's the reason they laid an egg up at Minnesota. But Brown came out, says what coaches do, denied everything, said everything was completely false, and we'll see. It's definitely a distraction. It feels bad for the players because there are guys who committed to Jeff Brom for who wanted to be there with him for 4 years, and now they're hearing that he's leaving, and their future is uncertain. But I wouldn't be shocked if Dakich is right and it's announced that Monday. I think both schools need to rip this Band-Aid off, especially with that big recruiting weekend, that first weekend in December, or the second weekend in December, to keep these classes together, especially with the December 19th signing period moving quickly, is going to be very, very important.
Well, I mentioned this before, and Vince Tyra has done such a great job at Louisville as the ID since he stepped in with all the stuff that happened down there. But I lay this squarely on Louisville. Their season has sucked so bad anyway. Why couldn't you wait a couple more weeks to do this? And
because you got to recruit. You got to get your guy in there, and you got to recruit.
He's not. But I'm saying is, if you're going to, without naming a head coach, well, they could have done it all at the same time. Bam, bam, fired, hired. I mean, they could have had it set up without Petrino getting fired and have now this be the discussion like it's become for Jeff Brom and Purdue. That's the only thing. If they had waited till the second after the game was over, boom, they could have done it and gotten out a little cleaner, I think. But Louisville's looking out for Louisville, and rightfully so, and I get that. They don't care that much about Purdue, and I wouldn't either. I'd care more about myself.
You got to do what's best for your program. If
Exactly.
They felt that firing Petrino after the Syracuse game was the best course of action, then that's what they had to do. And they were dead in the water. They're not going to win a game the rest of the season. They're probably going to get waxed at home by Kentucky to end the year. And having Bobby Petrino wasn't going to change that. So, they started that process, and we'll see what happens. It's coaching rumors, they always happen. I mean, Urban Meyer's still the head coach at Ohio State, and people are already talking about he might not coach next year, and who might replace him, and all those things. So rumors are rumors, and you got to do what's best. You got to do what's best for you. It's true in college football. It's true in life.
Absolutely. Sammy Jacobs, HoosierHuddle.com. Check it out. Make sure you get complete coverage of Indiana football from HoosierHuddle.com. Sammy, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Sammy Jacobs from HoosierHuddle.com. Of course, brought to you by Kentuckiana Premier Truck Center. Whether it's one truck or the entire fleet, let Kentuckiana Truck Center take care of you. We've got a ton coming back. Drew Davis from Peaks.com. We're talking hoops. We got Todd Leary on today. Grant Asphalt talking Pacers. Lots more coming back here on Indiana Sports Beat. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us. Brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle here on this Friday, November 16. We're halfway through November, and it is cold. But we're going to warm it up with some IU hoops action. Drew Davis from Pigs.com joins us now. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you, Jim?
I'm alive and well, man. I'm unfrozen and kicking and looking forward to another pretty good challenge for the Hoosiers on Sunday as they travel to Fayetteville, Arkansas, down to SEC country, take on the Arkansas Razorbacks in what will be a first test for these young Hoosiers, a road test, a first road experience, and should be a pretty good one for them.
Yeah, Arkansas is a solid team with a lot of new pieces, but they're anchored by one consistent piece that is there for them. Possession after possession, and Daniel Gafford. He's expected by many to be a lottery pick in the upcoming NBA draft. A really nice big man with nice moves in the post, can turn over the shoulder. Just really solid big man. It's tough to slow down. He's a sophomore, so he's got a year of experience. And then they also have two guards, and they love to shoot the three ball. And Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones both average over 6 threes per game. And like Archie Miller said, he's expecting probably over 23 shot from Arkansas in this game. And then both of them shoot over 46% from long range, and are solid shooters. And then the only other guy in double figures for them was Adoro Bailey, and he's out there on the wing for them, and a really athletic forward. And outside of those guys, then there's no one else that's even over 6 points, I believe, for them. So those are the guys that Indians have to kind of slow down, and especially those two guards. You can let Gafford get his, but you can't let those guards, kill you as well.
Yeah, and speaking of guard play, Indiana got incredible guard play against Marquette from Al Durham, Rob Finney, of course. You combine that with Romeo. Man, that was a great combination for those guys, especially running the point between Al and Finney. 13 assists, 1 turnover, 23 or 4 points combined from them. Woo! That's a great productive night from your point guards.
Yeah, and you got to take into account the job they did on Marcus Howard, and especially Rob Finney was rock solid. First big game, rises to the challenge. He defends one of the best guards in the entire country in Marcus, and he held him to 18 points, I believe, on 14 shots. They're very good. And, you also had to take into account the job Al Durham did as well, when Tennessee wasn't on him. And then, you also look at the ball screen coverage against the Marquette guards. I thought that was pretty solid. Some lapses in the second half. Obviously, Indiana was kind of fortunate. They missed those shots that they usually hit. But overall, I thought it was a pretty solid job on ball screen coverage. But Indiana's guards were, just exactly what they need from them. Just rock solid, and they took care of the basketball and didn't hurt themselves. And I think it'll be interesting to see if they're able to continue that moving forward.
Yeah, and then, of course, big news coming out yesterday that Jerome Hunter underwent surgery Wednesday, which was a little surprising. And I mentioned I was a little surprised because, here we are in that post-game press conference Wednesday night at, going close on 11 o'clock. And no mention of that, but yet then we find out the next day he'd had surgery. So we still don't know exactly what the injury is, but he's out indefinitely, which we don't know if that means for the season or if it's just another month. So it's hard to tell.
Right, and I believe they said it's a leg injury or a leg condition, or not sure about all the details. Indiana like to give out much specifics there, but it's very unfortunate, especially for Jerome, because he was starting to come into his own prior to getting shut down. Climbing the practice point standings every week and showing strides, and eventually even won the gold jersey shortly before the Loyola scrimmage before he had to shut it down. So it's very unfortunate because Jerome Hunter has a lot of potential. He's going to be a very good player, and it's just unfortunate for him that he has his freshman season cut short when he was really starting to figure out some things that he was learning, and hopefully for Jerome that he's able to make a full recovery because like I said, he's a guy that has a chance to do this for a living as a pro. So I don't know if we'll see him again this year because even if he is able to come back, he's able to come back in February. As a coach, you have to start to sit there and weigh, does bringing him back this year outweigh, redshirting a guy and saving that year of eligibility? And I think that's what a decision Indiana may have, and we'll just have to see what they decide to do there. But I think it's too early to kind of say for that right now.
I'm a little surprised at the level of secrecy on this, because most of the time when somebody goes down, it's, well, so-and-so suffered a knee injury, looks like an ACL, he's got surgery, blah, blah, blah. But this has been kept cloaked in a lot of secrecy with what the injury is, the fact that he was having surgery, the fact that he had surgery comes out after the fact. It's a little unusual to me.
Yeah, but if you look back over the course of like the Indiana program, they've always conducted their business like that, especially with injuries. You even go back to when Tom Crean was there. You think back to, most recently when OG Anunoby. So there's a high level of secrecy around those injuries. So that's just kind of been how Indiana's always done things.
Well, most schools are in a way, but this seems to go to another level with the fact that when a guy goes down with a knee injury, or like, oh, gee, you knew, it looks like a knee injury, blah, blah, he's going to be scheduled for surgery. It's talked about. This was cloaked in complete secrecy. There's been no indication of what the injury is, no indication that he was going to have surgery, and you don't find out until after the fact. That is a step beyond, to me, the normalcy. That's not how things – that's even a little more unnormal than anything else.
Yeah, I think that might be an indication that maybe it's something, that's a little unusual. Who knows? We can only sit here and speculate, that, level of the injury and whatnot, because we really just don't know. And honestly, it'll be interesting to see, what information, comes out, in the next couple of weeks. And we'll just have to see, kind of what happens with Jerome at this point.
Absolutely, and then there's a couple other guys who have been sidelined with injuries. They're just kind of nagging injuries. Zach McRoberts dealing with a back issue. No reason to rush him back. The same with Devontae Green. I'm not exactly sure what his injury is. And then Race Thompson had a concussion, so you can probably expect him. I wouldn't be surprised to see Race Thompson play Sunday because the concussion, he's been out for long enough, I think, the concussion protocol, going through all of that. So I don't know if they get any of these guys back Sunday. It would be nice, especially being on the road, to have a little bit more depth. But right now, we don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. But just reading Archie Miller and kind of to listen to some of his comments in the post game about injuries. Reading between the lines, I didn't think he sounded too encouraged that he would get anyone back for Sunday, but maybe I could be wrong. We'll just have to see. But Race Thompson, wasn't in the building on Wednesday night because of his concussion. Obviously, doctors are going to tell you that when you have a concussion, you don't want to be around a great deal of light and a great deal of noise like there was in Assembly Hall. So that's why he wasn't there and on the bench on Wednesday night. But McRoberts and Green, it'll be interesting to see what happens with those two. McRoberts, like you said, had a back injury, and back injuries are never anything to mess around with. I even think back to a most recent experience with one was Romeo Langford between the summer of his junior and senior year in AAU. He played on a back, and it kept flaring up on him over the course of an entire AAU season. So that was just kind of an example of if you have a back injury, you might want to kind of shut it down and make sure it's 100% before you play, so you're good to go in the long run.
Absolutely, and it amazes me that they can do as well as they did the other night, so shorthanded. I mean, they handed it to Marquette with about a third of their rotation not in and able to play. They had 4 guys not playing, and still it's like they did not miss a beat. So they seem to be getting things into form right now. How hard is it going to be to integrate those guys in when they do come back?
Oh, I don't think it'll be that hard. I think like Archie, the way he does things, especially when guys come back, he likes to stay with established rotations and kind of make those guys, earn their minutes and work their way back in. But I think for a guy like Roberts, I don't think it'll be hard. Senior leader, he's been there, done that. It's pretty easy for a guy like that. But Devontae Green, it may be a little more challenging with just his style of play. But we'll just kind of see how he kind of works his way back, and then Archie's just always he's always shown the kind of likeness for going with a shorter rotation, but I think those guys are going to be needed because you look back at the last 4 minutes of the first half, because these injuries put a lot of pressure on Indiana C guys to play well, and they don't, then Indiana's going to struggle. You look back to the last 4 minutes of the first half the other night, Indiana got doubled up by Marquette, was for no reason other than fatigue, in my opinion. I thought the guys started to wear down, and because they're playing more minutes, and I thought that's where it was really evident they were missing those guys, and the foul trouble and the injuries kind of made Archie limited on what he could do. And you see a guy like Clifton Moore have to go in the game at the end of the half, and that also takes a toll on practice because the second team isn't as good when there's injuries, and you have to manage. You also have to take into account when you're Archie Miller. You have to balance, pushing your guys too hard and keeping them fresh for the next game. So injuries have a much bigger effect than just rotations in a game.
Then there was some good news in regards to, I don't know if it's good news, but news. Keon Brooks, he seems to be nearing a decision on where he's going to be going to college. I don't think that's going to come in time for the early signing period, but at least he seems like he's ready to move forward.
Yeah, the door was, open and, a little bit for a signing decision in the fall, but I mean, ultimately wasn't not expecting it because it was going to be an awful quick turnaround coming off your last visit to decide. But just because he's not going to sign in the fall doesn't mean he's not going to make his decision here soon. I think people jump to conclusions when they see a kid say that he's not going to sign in the fall. Just because Keon's not going to sign in the fall doesn't mean he's going to wait till the spring. So he'll still have the opportunity to make his decision here. Maybe even here in the next month. And so we'll just have to see how it goes, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with him. And from everything he said, it sounds like he could be, not that far away from making a decision.
And then, of course, you got Trace Jackson Davis, who is going a different route, and just he's going to evaluate Archie Miller and Tom Izzo over the next few weeks. Before he makes his decision. What happens if Keon Brooks would come out and commit to Indiana and then say one of the other bigs outside said, hey, I want to go to Indiana too, and they commit? Where does that leave Trace Jackson Davis?
I don't think Indiana's ever going to tell Trace Jackson Davis no. I think they would find a way to make it work with those guys. Now maybe in Trace's eyes that might make his decision a little harder, but I would expect Indiana to have no problems taking him and another quality big, say whether, just for example, if it was, Matthew Hurd or Isaiah Stewart, just because he's been connected with IU, which is very unlikely. But for some reason, one of those two decided to come in, Indiana, I'm sure, would be very happy, and they would take both of them. But if that happened, I would say that would definitely make Trace's decision a little harder.
And then, like I said, Indiana going down to Fayetteville, Arkansas. What does the Hoosiers have to look out for to come out of there with a win on Sunday?
Indiana's going to have to handle the pressure. Arkansas, they like to get up in you. They like to make your life difficult. Kind of old term, 40 minutes of hell. It's kind of how they play, and I think you have to slow Daniel Gafford down because he makes things work for them because he's going to have that inside out presence if he gets going. So, being able to establish him will open up things for, Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones. And if you can kind of make life hard on Gafford, then it might kind of disrupt the flow. And Indiana handles the pressure there, takes care of the ball, and, turns defense into offense. I think it's a recipe for a win down there in Fayetteville.
Well, we'll certainly find out. Hope so. That would because everybody's been talking about why isn't Indiana ranked? And everyone that says that, I simply say because they were 16 and 15 last year and they hadn't beaten anybody yet. Now they've thoroughly handled Marquette and woken up the rest of the national media to this. They still need to win this game to continue that. But once they win that game, I see Indiana in the top 20 next week, not just top 25.
Yeah, I know. There's certainly a possibility. I definitely agree with you on that because I feel like, you're sitting there and you went 16 and 15 last year, and you beat Chicago State, Montana State. I want to see you get a quality win before I'm willing to give you some votes in the top 25 or and whatnot. But I think like you said, that now they've put themselves in a position to get ranked, and they have to win on Sunday. And adding a road win over Arkansas and a win over a ranked Marquette team in the same week, that's a very, very good week. So that'll definitely earn Indiana a lot of respect if they're able to pull that win out on Sunday.
Absolutely. Drew Davis with Peegs.com. Thanks a lot, brother. Look forward to it. We'll talk to you soon and talk to you Monday on the results of that.
All right, man. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you on Monday.
Thank you very much. Drew Davis from Peegs.com, brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry, serving the needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds take care of your family. They certainly take care of me. Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. We got a lot more coming back. Todd Leary's on the show today. Prepping Indiana. We've got Grant Aspens. We're going to talk some Pacers. Stay tuned. NES Sports Beat with Jim Coyles back after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
You know it. Welcome into a Friday edition of Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Thanks a lot for joining us. We got a lot to get to yet. Todd Leary's on the program today. Grant Asfith. We're going to talk some Pacers and Vic Oladipo. Lots to get to. Hoosiers got some big games this weekend, all across the board: soccer, basketball, football. Before we get to any of that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this Friday, November 16th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. Seahawks defeat the Packers 27-24 last night on Thursday Night Football. After just 10 games, the Houston Rockets are parting ways with Carmelo Anthony and Mookie Betts from the Red Sox in the American League and Christian Yelich from the Brewers in the National League are MVPs of the baseball world, announced last night. Those are your headlines, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
And welcome back. We got a lot to get to today, man. Todd Leary's going to be on the show. We'll talk preview of the Indiana-Arkansas game. Of course, talk a little bit about the big win over Marquette the other night with Todd. Grant Asfith will be along. We'll talk some Pacers and Victor Oladipo and company. See how they're getting along. Big games this weekend for the Hoosiers. On the soccer field, Indiana opens up their NCAA tournament run as they seek a 9th national championship. Top seed in their region, number 2 seed overall. Playing UConn. The Huskies will come to town, and man, anytime you play a team from the Northeast, you know it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, they play some soccer up there.
Absolutely do. And then, of course, on the basketball floor, the Hoosiers will be traveling to Fayetteville, Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks of the SEC. A great test, early season test on the road for these young Hoosiers. Be their first experience venturing out. See how they handle that on the heels of the big win over Marquette the other night. Then, of course, on the football field, Indiana travels to Ann Arbor, Michigan, up to the Big House to take on the vaunted Wolverines, one of the top teams in the country. Right now sitting 4th in the college football playoff poll, which I expect to see them win out, man. They've got to get past this Indiana game, and then they have Ohio State. And you got to think, man, how do you not overlook Indiana? When you got Ohio State coming in next, you've not beaten them. No one on that team has beaten Ohio State. Well, yeah, Harbaugh's been there long enough. He's been there 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Or 4 years?
I think so.
He's been there through the whole cycle. He has yet to beat them, I think. So that we got a lot going on.
That's a pretty good point, though. Maybe there is a chance that Michigan is overlooking Indiana and straight to Ohio State. Indiana come in and shock them. Tom Allen had his coach's show last night due to the Indiana game being on Wednesday. He was actually asked by Don Fisher what it's going to take to beat this Michigan team, and more specifically about the Michigan quarterback, Shea Patterson.
Yeah, I get asked that several times, because they have a lot of the same guys, from a personnel perspective, and their defense is very similar. They're really their best players from last year, except for a couple are back, and they do a great job of flying to the football. But the thing that really sticks out to me is their quarterback. That's the biggest. And he's new. Shea Patterson transferred to Michigan and was grant eligibility immediately, and he's been a game changer for them in the way that they've kind of modified their offense to his skill set. They're more of a spread style. They still have a little bit of, some of the flavors of what they did in the past, but it's different for sure. And he's definitely ability for him to escape, beat you with his legs. Some of them are quarterback design runs. A lot of them are just creating off of in the drop back passing game. A lot of play action passing, extremely accurate quarterback. And they've always had talented receivers and running backs and O-line. And now they got somebody at that position that's able to be a really good fit for what they want to do. So he's kind of taking them to another level, and that's, to me, the biggest difference in this football team.
Why are they so good defensively?
Well, first of all, Don Brown does a phenomenal job schematically. He was great. He had the number one defense in the country when he was at Boston College. So you say, they didn't have, 4- and 5-star athletes there. They really did a great job developing them. Then he comes to Michigan where he has them more, on paper anyways, guys come out of high school that are ranked higher. And then you mix that with a great scheme, And so they play a ton of man coverage. They played a very aggressive style of in-your-face type defense. But they have a phenomenal defensive line linebacker core that really just kind of smothers the run game. So they smother you in the run game by the way they attack and how physical they are and how athletic they are. And then they basically play such tight man coverage, there's not a lot of margin for error for you to be able to get the ball in those small windows. So does a great job. So they're sound in scheme and creative in scheme, and then they got great athletes that are running the scheme. So I just think it's a combination of both, and they're impressive.
Tom Allen talking about going up to play Michigan. Brings up a great point. Michigan's defensive coordinator that he talked about, Don Brown, had the number one defense in the country at Boston College. Do you know how hard that is? At Boston College.
How hard it is to do anything at Boston College.
They're playing. That means everybody else that they're playing was better than them. And they still had the best defense. And what did Jim Harbaugh do? Let's see. I want a great defense. Oh, yeah. Hey, how about if I go get a better defensive coordinator? Novel idea.
Funny how that works.
Amazing. I was trying to get that. We were talking to Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle earlier about this, and that's one of the things I was trying to get to. I was cracking a little offhanded joke by saying, so he had to. Isn't it amazing how when you have the better coordinators, how much better that side of the ball performs?
Yeah, Sammy wasn't picking that up.
Yeah, but it is. If you have a very good coordinator, whether it's offensive or defensive, you're probably going to have a good defense or offense. And Sammy pointed out that, you still got to have good players, of course. But if you could have the number one defense at Boston College, I'm pretty sure he didn't have the best players in the world at Boston College. I don't mean that they didn't have decent players. What I mean is not compared to Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, Penn State, et cetera, et cetera. They don't have that level of talent, depth. But yet he had the number one defense. So it's about coaching. Yep. Point made.
Which we already knew. But
well, it seems to be lost upon people.
Sure. A couple texts in the show, 502-414-1450, that number. Joker texts in and asks, can IU shock the nation twice in 2 weeks? Football upsets Michigan and basketball upsets Duke. I think Duke's probably more likely.
Phew. Is it?
I would say so.
Well, let's wait till we get closer to Duke to talk about Duke. 'Cause we're a few weeks away. We got Arkansas to talk about.
And then he also said, not wishing the basketball season over, but enjoy watching this team so much I can't wait for the next game. Anybody else feel this way?
I'm sure. Who was that?
Joker.
Again. I'm sure that they can. Yeah, this is it's very exciting times for fans of Indiana basketball, and with good reason.
Sure.
Got a good team. Of course, that's something that we didn't already know, but they were waiting. The proof's in the pudding, and so been waiting to see that game that they had against Marquette, and hopefully that same game that they'll have against Arkansas. But that's going to be a great test on the road in a hostile environment.
Yep.
I mean, it's Indiana, baby. Indiana comes to town. Yeah, you're getting their best.
Yep.
I mean, it's the same with soccer. When I talked to Coach Yeagley about the very, very thing, he said, man, we get everybody's best. And that's the truth. Indiana is a brand name in basketball. I don't care that they've had their ups and downs. It doesn't matter. It still doesn't change. It's Indiana. It is Indiana. And so that's going to be fun to go down. And that's an unusual game for Indiana. On the road in an SEC school that's not someone like a rival. Of course, they don't have a rival in the SEC anymore. They won't play
Not anymore.
Unfortunately, they won't play them. Don't want to go to Assembly Hall.
Wish they played Vanderbilt. I'd love to put a Darius Garland on time.
Oh, that would have been funny. How bad would Indiana beat Vanderbilt?
Oh, it'd be ugly. Yeah.
Oh, my God. They could go down in that cracker box they play in and just beat them like little red-headed stepchildren. No offense to red-headed stepchildren.
Bouncing off what we were talking about a little bit yesterday with Romeo and how he can score so easy, Tim texts in and says one reason he can get to the hoop so easy because he can get down really low is he is slashing to the goal. But we'll see how that plays out on Sunday.
Yeah, Romeo's just
test.
a scorer. He's just a scorer, period. I mean, he's just a very phenomenal athlete, and he's just a special, gifted athlete. That's all you can say.
That's the best way to put it.
I mean, it's all there is to it. I mean, it's not a formula that someone sat around and I need to put a little of this in it, a little of that. It's just how it happened, man. And it is what it is. But he's definitely fun. I was watching rewatching some of the game, and that play that he got fouled on driving where he ends up standing in front of the crowd and slap fives with the guy. It was just kind of funny. It was because it was just, and he wanted – that was the most emotion I've ever seen out of Romeo.
Absolutely.
And you could tell he was wanting to cut it loose. He was like, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time because you can only hold back that for so long because, and to me, this is why I think, it's not because of anything other than you stepped up a level. And I don't think that they can understand that until they do it. You know, when you're in high school, you're the dude. You don't have to step up because you're up where you are is up to everybody else.
Sure.
So you're not being pushed to step. Now they're up a level. Now he's not the guy. He's one of the guys. And so it's that level of competition, but it raises that competitive drive in you and really waking something up. And then emotions just naturally spill out. And that's exactly what happened. You could tell he was just, he wanted to look like he wanted to just go, yeah. Because that's a hell of a play. And then so he just.
Well, going back and watching it, I had initially thought when I watched it live that Romeo was the guy that initiated the high five, but it was actually the fan that threw his hand out there, and Romeo just took the bait. But still, fun to see.
Yeah, it was great. It was hilarious. But it was good to see a little liveliness out of him, man. But more great things to come, I'm sure. But we got a lot coming up here on the program. Grant Asfitz, we're going to be talking about Victor Oladipo and company. And then, of course, Todd Leary. We're going to preview that Arkansas game. We'll be back with more right here. Indiana Sports People, Jim Coyle comes right back.
Down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, no. Oh, no.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch specials. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook. Today's guest is brought to you by Kentuckiana's Premier Truck Center, located 5 miles north of downtown Louisville, just off of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle here on this Friday, November 16th. Kind of cold out there. Ice, the roads are great, but everything else is covered in a blanket of ice, at least where I live. Trees everywhere, limbs everywhere. It seems like every time I go home, I've got to clear a path to get to it. Hope you guys have made it through all right. We've got a great finish to the show coming up. Grant Asfith should be along with us. Talk some Pacers and Victor Oladipo. Todd Leary on the program today as well. Talking more IU basketball as the Hoosiers have another test, especially for the young squad as they go on the road in the SEC. We'll talk about that with Todd a little later. But right now, we've got Grant with us. We're going to talk Victor Oladipo and company. Grant, how's it going, brother?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for coming along. Pacers, how are they going right now? As they trend toward this season, are they headed in the direction that they want to be right now?
Yes. In the last immediate little while, they've had quite a bit of a little break. They haven't played since, Sunday, so not often you can get a break quite like that, but so far I'd say they've been really close to where they want to be, if not right up there, with two less losses than they have wins.
And we talked about this before, but as they go forward and get toward the end of the season, is this lineup going to be able to sustain them through the playoffs to make a deep run?
I don't think they have enough defensive firepower. I don't think the on-ball, capabilities of the point guard and small forward spot will be enough, especially if you're going to be facing a dynamic lineup that has talent at that position. I also don't think you'll have enough spacing. I think and eventually getting a stretch floor would be, the right call to really spread it out and be able to keep up with the other, other teams in the East.
And I know he's not a stretch forward, but how well would OG Anunoby fit into this team?
It's funny that you say him because during that draft, I had two players on my like the top of my list. It was Donovan Mitchell, and then it was him. I think for modern basketball, he would be a phenomenal fit. You know, he would help them cover ground so much better on defense. And then he would, he's a respectable catch and shoot guy. So I think that's pretty much exactly what you would want.
Well, I got to say I got a little lucky with that, but I thought of that too because not only would that be a huge hit, a good hit basketball-wise, my God, that would be a PR dream come true because Victor Oladipo is arguably the most popular Indiana basketball player, IU basketball player of the last decade. And OG's up there, man.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's too bad because they had a good opportunity with the draft pick that they had when he was going to the draft to be able to go out and get him. But I guess giving TJ Leaf a little bit more time to see kind of if he can figure things out and if he'll be a match for what they're going to be using him as to kind of salvage that that draft selection will be interesting to see. But it'll always kind of sting because Anunoby is doing so well for his role on the Raptors, and that team in particular, they've just been hitting on so many draft picks, and him being one of them and being such a key component to it, and you're trying to surpass them. That definitely does not feel very good.
Yeah, I don't understand why. To me, that was a swing and a miss. They're a great opportunity. But you mentioned the Pacers have had a nice little break, kind of like in football, getting a bye week. But so what is that going forward? What does this mean for the Pacers? They're trending in the right direction, like you said. Where they go from here as they head toward the All-Star break, which is that's the next, I guess, true break that they'll get.
Some of the things that they were discussing, about like working on after or during that break to hopefully be improved after the break ends. One of the main things is like playing at a faster pace, and then another is like being a better rebounding team, and then another is not relying so much on Victor Oladipo offensively. They had recently a game where Oladipo shot like 30 times, and they have a lot of success when Victor shoots kind of in between that 15 to 20 range, and his teammates are involved. And I think they want to kind of get there and to that level, and then have like a consistent identity as a team. And they rank 28th in pace, and I think like a lot has been made about like them ranking 28th in rebounds per game, but since they play at such a low pace, they have a considerable, a decent amount less of opportunities to grab rebounds. When you adjust that, their adjusted defensive rebounding chance percentage is like 19th, so they're not as bad, and they're 29th in offensive rebounding, but that's mostly because they don't really try to crash the glass. They kind of prefer to get back on defense. So I feel like those are some of the things like that have been talked about for the Pacers, and they've talked about in particular. That'll be kind of interesting to watch when their break is done.
Talking with Grant Abseth, our Pacers guru. That's kind of led right into the question that I was actually going to ask next was, are they putting, I don't want to use the word pressure, but asking too much of Victor from that standpoint? That's why I'm wondering, they need that other guy, but it seems like they rely on him just a tick too much to get to that next level.
Yeah, I do think they could use more playmaking support Tyreek Evans, he hasn't quite been the type of player, or I mean, he hasn't made quite the impact that they were probably thinking that they were going to get. He's been averaging just under 20 minutes per game, and he's been one of the worst finishers. Actually, he has been the worst finisher in the NBA based off some stats. And, it's hard to really embrace, a player like that or playing like that with, alongside Oladipo more, throughout games and what they've been able to do. And that's kind of what they need to have happen to be able to, have themselves rolling with Evans, on the floor with Oladipo heading into the playoffs because, there's a lot more time, to be able to do that. It's just like we're not even at the quarter mark, so it's not necessarily a complaint or anything. It's just kind of like a very quick status update. But, I don't think Darren Collison and Bogdanovich are necessarily going to be, dynamic enough of playmakers, and I also don't think they have the passing ability to necessarily be the type of players, or at least you would want at least one legitimately good passer next to Oladipo to be able to, better run their half-court offense, to be able to kind of activate the impact of guys like, Thad Young and Miles Turner, who play, more off the ball, in addition to the impact that Oladipo makes.
Absolutely. Is there pressure on the Pacers to do something, to make a move to get in that position? Because they haven't done a lot. I mean, they've obviously made some moves, but they haven't really made the big move that I call it, that some teams do. He's like, oh, wow, they're serious about this. Is the pressure there enough yet for them to make the big move?
I think it kind of depends on the way they view the seriousness of competing at a high level, or I shouldn't say seriousness, but the need to kind of put the chips in like immediately for this season, because they have a lot of salary cap flexibility heading into the summer. There's a lot more available talent, far better fits than and availability than what they were dealing with over this previous summer. So if they're looking to kind of target this summer as the summer that they were intending to kind of bolster their team, then there may not even really be a whole lot of incentive to view this season as like you really got to put your chips in, go out and get a guy, right now, because everyone wants to win when they can, but it may not it just may be a matter of timing to be able to continue to build, organically, without forcing the issue too much, because also there aren't a whole lot of star players that are available out there right now, especially after Jimmy Butler was dealt to Philadelphia. I think it might be good to be able to just be one of the. I would like to see an upgrade to like wing defense, like get a guy or maybe like a Trevor Ariza, and I wouldn't even oppose like a stretch 4 or a point guard or something like that if they're interested in resolving at least one of their long-term needs. But even if they were just to continue to be patient and wait for a disgruntled star, and then someone that they truly were willing to pursue, and then they capitalize on that, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I guess Jimmy Butler wasn't necessarily the most cohesive of fits with a guy like with the skill set of Oladipo, so it may not have been the right call in their mind.
Different player, but they can always wait for Romeo.
Yeah, that is true. I think another guy to kind of like.
How big would that be, though, for real? If they could get someone like that on their roster because of the Indiana ties and the fact that My God, he's already a hero in this state. And to put him next to Victor Oladipo, whew.
I think they would. They need to expand the gift shop again. They definitely would. That would be pretty crazy. And then, imagine going out and getting maybe even a guy like Yogi Ferrell in addition to from IU too. I mean, just fully embracing it. But one guy I think an established sort of guy to maybe keep an eye out on. I don't know if they're going to go. I don't know if Charlotte would go out and move him. But their team, they just haven't been able to really do much, and they don't really have the resources to put together a supporting cast around Kemba Walker. But if Indiana needs, in their mind, a scoring punch, and they want to, instantly be more dynamic of an offensive team, that's a guy that I would kind of keep an eye on because his contract's over. Or it expires after this season, so that's one option. There's guys like Chris Middleton of the Bucks. His contract expires after this season. He's been pretty darn impactful for the Bucks, and obviously scooping up a guy like that would hurt the Bucks too, and that only helps the Pacers with competing with the rest of the East. But those. Kind of tough because those seem to be, in a nutshell, semi-realistic options. But it doesn't just seem all that likely that they would leave their teams either. So, if they don't get necessarily aggressive, they may miss out again, depending on kind of how the rest of the season shakes out for some of these teams.
Grant Athens, thank you so much. Tell the folks where they can find your stuff.
Well, I read a weekly column for the Kokomo Tribune about the Pacers, and you can also find my analysis on NBAanalysis.net.
Grant, I appreciate you, sir. Look forward to talking to you again next week, and hope it's a great week for the Pacers.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. Grant Athens, brought to you, of course, by Kentuckiana Premier Truck Center. Whether it's one truck or the entire fleet, let Kentuckiana Truck Center take care of your fleet. We've got a lot more coming back here on Indiana Sports Beat. Todd Leary, we're talking Indiana hoops. Stay tuned. We're right back after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, November 16th. Hope you're thawed out. Joined now by the great Todd Leary. Todd, how are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome.
You know,
How about you?
I'm great, man. I'm thawed out and off the ice. Put my skates back away. You guys get much ice around you?
You know, we got a lot of snow. We didn't get the ice, so I guess we'll take it.
Yeah, it's. I've got trees down everywhere. It seems like every time I pull into my driveway, gotta break out the chainsaw just to get in. Tired of it, though.
No, it's going to thaw out here today.
Absolutely looking forward to it. A big win for Indiana this week. They had Marquette come in, ranked top 24th ranked team, and they more than handled them. They pretty much dominated that game from the onset.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, that was obviously, you know, probably or without a doubt the biggest test they've had so far. But you know, I think a lot of fans feel like Indiana would do what they did and play as well as they did. But, you know, it's nice for them to go out and probably even exceed the expectations of what people had for them. I know defensively they did for me. I mean, their rotations defensively, I know I talked about it with you last week a little bit, but seeing how comfortable they kind of looked defensively, they weren't just comfortable this week. They were aggressive defensively and forced a lot of early turnovers, which gave them a big lead. And man, I couldn't have been more impressed. I'm so excited to see how this team develops defensively.
And you come from a background playing that was defensive oriented as well. Judging it from that standpoint, how defensively, how good are they?
You know, if you base it on their experience in years, they're way above their level of what they played at, I mean from high school. And these guys have obviously been taught well in high school. They understand the rules that Archie has early. Archie's rules are a lot the same as what Coach Knight did. You know, Coach was probably a pioneer in that and how he had guys rotate and help defensively, and it almost looks like a zone half the time when they're playing it, but it's not. It's man-to-man, and they're just a lot of help principles, and you have to anticipate. This is so funny for me to be talking about defense because my high school coach is probably keeper's probably ready to shoot me right now, but I did learn it, and I didn't know a whole lot going into it, going into my career, and I did learn to make defense fun, actually, and learning all the rotations and what you can do, and being able to anticipate things and what guys are going to do, and film study and everything. I mean, these guys put the effort and the time into it, and, man, it's really paying off for them early in their careers. And even to see Fitzner come in there and not having been within the program before or known Archie, boy, these guys sure look good, and they look like guys who have played together for a long time, not just for a couple of months.
Yeah, you talk about Fitzner. Without him, they had a shooting. They hit 9 of 20 shots from behind the arc. But if you take him and Demezy's 1 for 1 out of there, they didn't shoot too well. You had like 4 or 5 other guys that were like 1 for 3, 1 for 5, 1 for this. That's not their milieu, and Archie's not said that. But when that's working, that's just another sword that they're swinging against guys. And not this defense is smothering, but yet they're scoring a ton of points. They're averaging like 95 points a game.
Yeah, and they, the three-point shot, if right now, it would be more smoke and mirrors right now if they were making 16 or 17 threes a game. And they're not. So that's obviously a huge bonus because this team has the ability to do it. I mean, you look at how many guys on the floor can make three-pointers at a time. It's a fun thing to think about what they're going to be able to do offensively. They have the ability right now to have a different guy step up and be the leading scorer. You could probably name 5 or 6 different guys that could do that, and it wouldn't shock you. So that's obviously a good thing for them offensively. And man, Fitzner has just been a blessing seeing that guy come in here, and the efficiency, his efficiency rating is just incredible. And he's just, he's got good effort. He works hard. He doesn't seem to say a whole lot. He just goes down the floor and does his business. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, because he not only can he step out there and knock those threes down at 6'10", he's a post presence. He can actually play in the post.
And has great touch. Like he's got the little runners around the lane, the little jump hooks, and all of that stuff. And I think we'll probably be overlooking the fact that he's really going to help out rebounding wise. I mean, he's not a high flyer, but man, at 6'10" or 11 or whatever, he does a great job at being long and getting those rebounds that, even though guys might be more athletic, they're just not as long as him, and he's able to grab those. So he's gonna really help out in so many different categories.
Of course, talking to Todd Leary, former IU great. This week they go on the road down to Fayetteville, Arkansas, SEC country. A good test for these young Hoosiers. How do you see that playing out? Because that's an early season road test, which is going to be pretty pretty tough encounter for them.
Yeah, it is. People. I think the media and coaches make a lot out about playing on the road and what that is for. I don't think the average person probably understands what a big difference it is. But it's just kind of when it changes your whole routine and changes everything you do and what time you eat and where you sleep and everything that you do over a 2-day period. I mean, playing on the road is just a different animal. And there's a lot of young guys here that I know they've traveled with AAU and different things, but they've not been through this particular program and how they do things. So it'll be a test for them up front to see how they react to it. I can't remember. What time is that game? Is that a late game?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't remember the tip. I think it's an afternoon game, but I do not remember for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, that makes a difference. It really does, because when you play a 7, 8, 9 o'clock game at night and you end up having to sit in the hotel all day long, man, it makes a big difference. I like it a lot better when they play those 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon games that are on Saturday or Sunday afternoons. Those are a little bit more within your routine because you get up and you eat and you do walkthroughs and watch film, and then you're basically ready to go to the gym and play.
Yeah, they play at 3:30.
Do they? Okay, well that's probably a benefit for them. They'll be forced to get up and move and get their energy pumping. But man, when you lay there in the hotel all day, it's pretty boring. It's ugly.
Well, and plus I haven't mentioned yet, they're missing 4 guys that are an integral part of this team that actively play. McRoberts actually started, but you've got Race Thompson, who hasn't really been able to get going yet because we didn't see him last year as a red shirt, and he hasn't got to get going this year. Then you've got Devontae Green, who is an important part of that front court, and we'll talk about that front court. Good God, how good were they? And then surgery for Jerome Hunter. But those 3 guys are integral because Archie, I mentioned the scoring, how much they score, that's because they get down the floor after a defensive stop. They want to get points off turnovers. They want to get fast break points, and that's why they're scoring 95 points a game. But to do that, you got to have a lot of legs, a lot of fresh legs, and running some new guys in. So they need to get those guys back.
Yeah, they do, and you know, you said it exactly right. I mean, we don't know what Race Thompson, we don't really know how good he's going to be or his capabilities because we've really just not seen him play. And Hunter, well, I think everybody's excited to think about what he could add to this team just with the, all the accolades he had coming in. So those are great. I mean, obviously, getting Devontae and McRoberts back, we know what those guys can do, and we obviously know what a big part they are. I mean, we talk about shooting wasn't great. Well, even though he doesn't shoot a lot, McRoberts' percentage is great, generally from the three-point line, and then Devontae can obviously go crazy at any point in time scoring points. So that gives them that extra little punch there, and I know I'm just as excited as everyone else is to see hopefully Hunter gets to play this year and he recovers from that. But, you know, obviously his health is the number one thing, and if they don't, talking to the staff down there, if they don't think it's going to be in his best interest to play, they will not play him throughout the year. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
I feel like if I talk about Rob Finney anymore, I need to start a fan club for him. But, my gosh, what can you say about this dude? He's just so unassuming and just doing his job like he's a second-year guy, a sophomore or something. He's just so solid for them. And then the other night, you add Al Durham to that, 13 assists, 1 turnover, both guys in double figures on points. What a performance at point guard for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what I hope that you keep talking about him, and I hope that the media and everybody keeps pumping him up, because you don't want a guy like Finney, and not that I think he even cares, but, I mean, this is a guy who is probably not going to get the credit he deserves because he's not going to be doing a whole lot of incredible highlight move things, and he's not going to be on Sports Center top 10s. But man, I tell you what, you take a freshman like that and give him the poise that he has and the attitude that he has up and down the court. He's a lunch pail guy that does all the little stuff that a lot of it goes unnoticed. But the coaches sure don't not notice it. They see it, believe me, and they are extremely excited to have shored up that position. And boy, he has embraced that role, and he knows his job, and he does it without pumping his chest going down the court. He's a guy that, the reason why they are looking as good as they are right now, in my opinion, is mostly because of Finney. And I know, obviously, Romeo is just incredible, and they wouldn't be doing what they're doing without him either. But Romeo would not be able to accomplish what he's doing right now, and everyone wouldn't look like they've been playing together for 6 or 7 years instead of 6 or 7 months if it weren't for Finney and the job that he's doing. And then you mentioned the first game, Al Durham didn't get to play, so I wasn't really sure how he would kind of fit into that whole mold and the mix of it. But boy, he looked great also, and he had an energy level to him that I think even surprised some of the other guys on the court, because when he was in there, boy, they played at a different pace, even defensively. They were flying all over the court, and I knew I liked watching him play last year, but I really liked what I saw out of him this week.
Talking with former Hoosier great Todd Leary. Put yourself in the shoes of an Arkansas coach. You saw what we all saw against Marquette. What are you thinking with Indiana coming in? What are you thinking that Arkansas has to do? What can they do to slow that defensive machine down?
Yeah, I think they'll to slow down the machine. I think they'll try to speed Indiana up. They'll try to pressure the heck out of them. You know, they'll put the guards, even though Durham's a sophomore, they'll put them to the test and try to see how they handle a bunch of pressure. I think that's what teams will do in general. I'm just going to say, I'm not as familiar with Arkansas's roster as I probably should be, but that I would assume they're going to try to go pressure, and speed the game up and get these guys into where they are making some mistakes. Because if Indiana turns it over, that was kind of, I think, Marquette's issue is they came into it and they were playing a little faster than the speed they wanted to play, and they caused some early turnovers, and Indiana jumped out to a 19-4 lead, and the game kind of hung at that point throughout the rest of the game. So I think that's what Arkansas and other teams in general early in the year will try to do, is speed them up. And I think Indiana is up for that challenge. I think they have enough guards and enough guys that can handle the ball that they may throw more points at you if you end up doing that to them. But I think that's how teams will try to test them early on.
Yeah, in Arkansas, that's the one thing they are known for, is that pressure. You go all the way back to the 40 minutes of hell with Nolan Richardson. I think they still try to continue that today. And it works on a lot of teams, but I agree with you. I think that it's going to backfire against Indiana because Archie wants them to get out and run, and that's why they're averaging 95 points a game, which amazes me because I think defense, I think Virginia, I think Wisconsin winning 58-40 or something, those lower scoring. Indiana's holding teams to 50 points a game, but they're scoring 90. It's just a little abnormal. It's, I think, what most teams put out on the floor, but man, it's a lot of headaches for an opposing coach.
Yeah, it is. And they'll, I don't know. Indiana, yes, Archie wants them to get up and down the floor. And that's why I think Archie's, philosophies and a lot of the stuff he does, I think that's why people from Indiana like him, because it's a lot like Coach Knight. I mean, even though we were a defensive-oriented team, and not just my team, but all the teams that Coach Knight had. But, I mean, we scored some points, too. I mean, we there was no, walking it up the floor. We were pushing it down the floor about as fast as we could, and I think you see that out of this same team. I think you see these guys, they push the ball, but they're pretty cautious about it, and they're not going down the floor at a million miles an hour. They're not out of control going down the floor. They're running hard, playing hard with a lot of energy, but it's under control. And you can definitely see there's been a concerted effort to have these guys take care of the basketball. And, I tell you, it's a blessing to watch. I can tell you that, because I have been very frustrated with the amount of turnovers Indiana teams have had in the last 15 years.
Todd Leary, I can't thank you enough. Look forward to doing it again soon. Look forward to seeing how the Hoosiers handle the 40 minutes of hell in Arkansas this Sunday.
Well, I hope we get to talk about another great performance like the one this week, because it sure is exciting. It's fun to kind of have those feelings. And as soon as you win a game like you win the other day, I mean, this is the Indiana fan to a T. Everybody starts thinking about seedings and March and how far we're going to go in the tournament. And I love that. That's not a negative. Trust me, I do the same thing. I was already sitting there looking at, after the game the other day, I was looking up to see where the first round venues were.
What region are we going to be in?
Exactly. So I fall into that crazy fan category just as much as anyone else.
Todd, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Look forward to doing it again soon.
You bet. See you, buddy.
Thank you. Todd Leary, former Hoosier great, previewing the Indiana-Arkansas game. Brought to you by Bubba's 33 of Clarksville. And before I forget, let's give away some lunch today from Bubba's. So you have to send me on Twitter, at Jim Coyle, ISB. The final game that Todd Leary played in, how many points did he score?
That's a good one.
There you go. How about that for coming off of it? Send it to me on Twitter, at Jim Coyle, ISB. And we'll get that in for you. Take care of it. But I hope you've had a great day. It was a great program, and look forward to doing more. The Indiana Hoosiers take on Arkansas on Sunday. You can catch that right here. Don Fisher, of course, on the call. Look forward to that as well. So for Justin Kalen, I'm Jim Coyle. It's been a great day, and I'll see you on the radio.